Welcome to 'Cause We're Nerds, the podcast that covers trends and new releases in comics, movies, video games, board games, and much more. I'm your host Caleb, and it's time to grab your con bag, lanyard up, and prepare your survival kit as we talk everything Comic-Con. Did the absence of Marvel Studios make for a bad year? What about Sony with their own little Marvel universe? And of course, does DC have a bright future ahead? Find out the answers to these questions and much more on this week's episode of 'Cause We're Nerds. Welcome back, everybody. So, you might have noticed Zach did not do the intro this week like he normally does, and that's because he is off. He's found the flying Nimbus, and he is traveling around the globe, doing all sorts of fun and crazy things. So, you got me for the next 3 or 4 weeks or so, which means I have to pull in some guests, so you don't just hear me for an hour. And that means this week we have Chris from the CNC Power Hour.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Well, I'm doing pretty good.
I'm used to asking you guys how you're doing because we do a live show. You would know that if you checked us out on twitch.tv/CNC Power Hour, where we stream magic and video games. Caleb, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a while.
Well, I've been pretty good, except for having to record the same episode twice yesterday, as our news listeners will know. That was not good.
Yeah, that's a shame, but you got through it. There's a good episode out of it. So that's all that matters.
Hopefully. All right. So we have a lot of news we're covering today because we are covering everything Comic-Con. So we are going to jump right in. But before we do, we are going to cover one tidbit of news that is not related to Comic-Con, and that is James Gunn being fired from Marvel.
Yeah. This was very sudden news. James Gunn, who... if you guys may know, listening to the show, or paying attention to Marvel in general, was heading up phase 3, or no, sorry, the 4, yeah, the next phase of, Marvel movies, and, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and for him to just suddenly be let go, just kind of came out of the blue. Disney's reasoning is really interesting. It makes sense. Did you hear what happened? Why he got let go?
Yeah, so we covered all this on our news show that came out this past Monday. If you want super details, we cover quotes from everybody and all that in that episode. But suffice it to say, he made some comments about Trump that people didn't like, and some other guy swooped in and kind of got other people to dig up his past and present that to Marvel and Disney. Now, what's your opinions on this?
So, I have strong feelings, both ways. And on one hand, Disney, by firing Gunn, gave the gentleman, who has dug up other people's pasts. There are 2 or 3 other people that he's done this with. Mm-hmm. They kind of gave him this sort of sense of validity, right? And that what he's doing is something that will get reactions.
Right.
And so, that's saying to anybody else, hey, if you can find enough dirt on somebody, we'll just cut them from their job, no matter how good they've been doing it, how well they've been behaving recently. But on the other hand, a lot of the stuff from James Gunn's Twitter 6 years ago was not okay.
Right.
So Disney has an image to protect. I understand that. I'm not entirely sure if what he said was fireable at the time, considering that he wasn't working for them. Mm-hmm. But that's the world we live in. We're in the information age where everything is out there, and you have to conduct yourself accordingly.
Yeah, it does set a really dangerous precedent, and I think that's kind of what's got a lot of people upset about this, is not only because he was fired, which is a sad loss, but like you mentioned, this means that anybody can come along, and what's to stop them from doing so and just destroy someone's career.
Right. And just this one guy, who Disney had no reason to listen to, right? Suddenly he is getting, national, international attention because he was able to get rid of Gunn, who is one of the best visionaries Marvel has, which, from my understanding, this is a Disney decision and not a Marvel decision.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. And as I mentioned in our news show, I feel it's very telling that Disney is the one that came out and fired him and not Marvel specifically.
Right.
So it's It's a hard situation. We'll monitor it in the coming weeks. I don't really think anything's going to change. There is a petition to get him rehired. Let's see, Saturday that was up to like 40,000 signatures. And today I just checked right before we started recording. It's up to 225,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's growing up almost as quickly as Infinity War's box office numbers.
Funny. Yeah, so it's got a lot. There's also been a lot of Hollywood people come out against the firing. So I am very curious what will happen if anyone were to be rehired after being fired like this. This seems like the situation that it would happen in.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, like, he had so much responsibility moving forward that this coming out of nowhere without Marvel being able to transition at all makes me think that they will at least get him back, as some sort of temporary advisory role.
Or a consultant.
Right, or consultant. Exactly.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Hopefully he will be back and everything will be fine. And if not, hopefully Marvel can manage, which I 100% believe in Kevin Feige's ability to jump back from this.
All right, well, guys, if you wanted any more news from the previous week, please do check out our news episode that came out this past Monday. That is going to be labeled "'Cause It's News," July 23rd, 2018. And, of course, there will be another one this coming Monday as well. So, it's time. We're just going to jump into the massive amounts of Comic-Con news. So, Chris, the way we're kind of going to do this is go in somewhat chronological order. Obviously, I was not at Comic-Con. Comic-Con is expensive.
Yes. I went once. It was expensive.
Oh, you
went? It was awesome.
I had no idea.
Yeah, 2009. Summer of 2009.
Okay, that's close to when I met you, actually. I think I had met you, like, once before, but we weren't really friends at that point.
You'd met me, it had to be 2008 was when we met, because I was a junior in high school. And then that summer, I was out in Los Angeles for 2 months, and I got to go to Comic-Con for Saturday. I sat outside the line for Hall H to see the Iron Man 2 panel, but because they don't clear out Hall H in between the show, I didn't get in. But Kevin Smith spoke immediately afterwards, as he does every year. Kevin Smith gets Hall H at the end of Saturday to do a nice little presentation or stand-up or whatever he wants to do.
Sure.
And I got to see that, and Kevin Smith is someone who I thoroughly enjoy.
That's awesome. I didn't actually realize that he got Hall H after Marvel.
I know, right?
That's pretty cool. But I was not there, so I don't know the exact order, so I've got these roughly grouped in days, which could potentially be wrong, so don't take that as fact. But starting off with Thursday is where we're going to start. The first thing that I remember seeing coming out of Comic-Con was the very first trailer for Titans, the TV show that's going to be on the DC streaming platform.
Yeah, so this was a show that was in the works for quite a while, originally for TNT, right?
Yeah, I think that was the idea.
And we're finally getting to see this, and it's not a CW show. It's not headed by the same people.
I think, what's the main producer on the CW shows? Bertolini?
Berlin-Tolly, I think.
Something, yeah, okay. I think he might still be an executive producer on it. I could be wrong about that.
Okay. Good. Kind of like, well, I mean, I know that they did that for Supergirl, and that was on another network initially.
Yeah.
But this Titans trailer, it is very much a DC trailer.
Yeah.
In the sense that color palette-wise, it is dark. Extremely dark. Content-wise, it is super look at me, I'm trying to be edgy.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the one thing about the trailer that will make you that will validate what I am saying, but it has to do with Batman.
I think most people know what that is. We are a family friendly show, so we are not going to say that on the air. But I was expecting something better. I like the tone of it, and I like some of the look of it, but you're right, it feels like it's trying too hard. Like, even the music that they played over most of the trailer, it felt like a CW song. Yeah,
it definitely did, and so Titans, if you guys don't follow DC, it's based off of Teen Titans, in particular, from my understanding, this team is the team from the Marv Wolfman run in the mid to late 70s, which is the one that everybody's familiar with if you watch any of the TV shows. Beast Boy,
Starfire,
Robin. Yeah, Starfire, Nightwing.
Well, he's Robin in this show.
That's right.
Yeah. No Cyborg.
No Cyborg. But, it's very much plays to the Riverdale teen angst angle that a lot of the CW shows have, but kind of grew out of. This one, I hope eventually will grow out of it. But I'm excited to see what happens. If it's bad, I will enjoy how bad it is.
Yeah, I'm curious about it. I definitely haven't written it off like some people have. I'm just not as interested as I was. I'm kind of hoping, based on the trailer, like, the tone that I'm talking about that I don't like could just be the trailer.
That is entirely true. There have been a lot of misleading trailers that put me off or put me onto something, and it turned out to be wrong. So I can definitely see that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably get the DC streaming service for at least a month or two, check out what's on it, and if it's not good, then maybe dump it, but hopefully it's still good. Although I don't really want to have to pay for another streaming service.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic we could definitely go into one day, is the cableization of internet streaming services.
Yeah, we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, so up next we got a surprise announcement. Star Wars The Clone Wars is returning. This was a animated TV show that ended in 2014, many say before its time. What do you think?
Yeah, so from my understanding, unfortunately I didn't get to watch this particular Clone Wars. I watched the original cartoon one.
Yeah, the 2D animated one.
Yeah, which was done by Genndy Tartakovsky, who did Samurai Jack and Powerpuff Girls. Mm-hmm. But I did not get to watch this one. I've seen some clips. It handled story really, really well. I know everyone that I know that has seen it loved it and are eagerly anticipating the return. From my understanding, I believe that it was kind of unresolved at the end, and that's what these episodes are here to do.
Yeah.
Because it's only 12 instead of a full 26 episode season, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I think you're right. I think it kind of left off on maybe not quite a cliffhanger, but definitely some unresolved threads. I've watched the first 4 or 5 episodes, actually, because I'd heard mixed things about it. Some people didn't like it, some people did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's really good. It's a great thing to put on in the background, too. Like, if you're cleaning or something, like, if you want to sit down and pay full attention to it, you definitely can. But you don't have to.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so this actually double cements it as canonical, right? Because...
well, I think Rebels directly references it, and Rebels is canon.
Right. But also Solo directly references it.
Does it?
Or did that... From my understanding, it does.
Okay.
But that's the fact that they're adding material to it makes it even more canon. Because...
Sure.
It started before Disney bought the rights.
Yeah, it did. And then Disney got it, and that's part of why it was canceled. It's a whole thing. But I think you guys should definitely check it out. It is on Netflix, or at least it was. So easy to watch. Most people have Netflix, so check that out. Next up, we got some news about the Spider-Man PS4 game. Chris, I am super stoked for this.
Yeah, I have been waiting for this since it was announced. This thing looks amazing. The team behind it has been doing a great job. They've made great games before. Cannot wait for September.
Yeah, so I actually got my PS4 because this game, I got it the year they announced it. So it's like 2 years later now, and I still don't have it. But I did order my copy today. I got the collector's edition. It's sold out everywhere. I defeated the internet. I claimed my prize. I'm very excited. But... at Comic-Con, we got a new trailer. Did you get to see the trailer?
I did not get to see the new trailer.
So this is the first story trailer we've gotten. It's got some different story beats in it, talking about kind of probably the general through line of the entire game, I'm assuming. It still looks really good. We also got to see the last pre-order bonus suit, which is an original suit called the Velocity suit that's designed by comic veteran Andy Granoff, who I'm a big fan of his art. Do you know him?
I do not.
He does these pieces that they almost look like paintings, but they've got this kind of stone texture to them. All of his Iron Man stuff is really, really good. That's awesome. And they also unveiled a limited edition PS4 Pro Spider-Man themed. It is called, quote, Amazing Red in color. And it's got the white spider on the top.
Are you rethinking your PS4 purchase and wanting to get this one?
All right. I'm going to be honest. I pre-ordered this as well. Yeah, I'm going to be selling my PlayStation, transferring everything over to this one, and no regrets. I was like, should I, shouldn't I? There'll never be another Spider-Man themed console, so I went ahead and got it. Spider-Man's my man, if you guys don't know. Very excited about that.
To be perfectly honest, I did the exact same thing when Arkham City came out.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a PS4, and then they announced the gunmetal Batman PS4, and I was like, all right.
Well, that's actually a great segue, because the next piece of news is about Batman. While I am more of a Marvel guy, you were definitely way more of a DC guy.
I am actually really behind on this news, so this news surprises me. So, new Batman comic, the three Jokers. It's part of DC's Black Label, right? Which I believe is more of a mature.
I don't really know, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what it is. I think it's pretty new as well. I think Geoff Johns might have made it.
Okay, from my understanding, it's kind of like DC's Vertigo line, which if you were around in the 90s or paying attention to comics in the 90s, it signaled that these books are a bit more mature. But this being a Black Label, it's still in universe. It's got Batman, Barbara Gordon, and Jason Todd, and rumor has it connects Bruce to the Joker in ways that will change their relationship forever.
Yeah, so I'm kind of not sure about that. My opinion is it's going to reveal they're half-brothers, because that is the rumor for the Joker origin movie that they're making.
Gotcha. And, that's actually something that has been kind of thrown around for as long as... I hate saying it, but for as long as fan fiction has been a thing.
Right.
It's been a very popular idea, them being related by blood somehow. But I think them being half brothers ruins the image of the Waynes that I have. Which, nothing in comics is sacred, but usually they have been. Thomas and Martha Wayne, I mean. But we'll see. Hopefully it does some interesting things.
Yeah, and the reason that they chose Batman, Barbara, and Jason Todd specifically is because those are the three that the Joker has most affected over the course of his career. Obviously, Batman, coming up against him, Barbara Gordon, he paralyzed her, and Jason Todd, he supposedly killed.
Ostensibly, yeah.
Yeah, so interesting to see where that goes. I know that's been a hanging plot thread since, Rebirth?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right. We'll move on. Next up, we got a new trailer for the movie Dragon Ball Super Broly, which is coming out here in the States in January and in December in Japan. You're not a big Dragon Ball fan, right?
I don't keep up with the show anymore. I loved it growing up. I actually started watching Super a couple of months ago, and I only got a couple episodes in before I got distracted. So Broly only existed in the movies previously, which the movies are dubiously canon.
Yeah, they're pretty much not canon.
Right.
Yeah.
So him being brought in Super is actually making me want to start catching up.
Yeah, and there's a character that returns in this, which I think is actually part of a spoiler for the end of Super, so I'm not going to mention it. If you've seen Super, then you probably know who that is. That character does return here in the movie, which is, I guess, okay. They seem to overuse this character, in my opinion, a little bit. But I think the animation looks really great. It's more of a return to the traditional style than the Super style. I haven't started Super. Of course, I've seen the two movies that they did, Battle of the Gods, Resurrection F. I'm about to go on Super, though. I think I'm going to try to finish it before the movie comes out.
Great.
Next up, we got Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is a new TV show they're doing. Do you have any interest in this?
I have nothing to say about this.
Yeah. I saw the trailer. I will say the animation looks good. It is the new style of animation, though, where it's all kind of goofy and stuff, so not really my cup of tea, so we're not going to say too much about it. It is coming out September 17th. Something that I am more interested to see what they do with, though, is Iron Fist Season 2, which got a new teaser trailer.
I missed this completely, but I am very apprehensive about another Iron Fist season. The original season did not do everything for me. I mean, it had some great characters.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue was very stiff.
As well as the action.
As well as the action, yes. Honestly, I think this version of Danny Rand works better when he is not the main focus.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully season 2 changes that.
Yeah, so they released like a really short teaser trailer online that didn't really have much in it. I don't think the fights looked very great in that. Apparently they did screen like a full trailer at Comic-Con, and the response has been actually really good. Improved fights, well improved. Apparently they hired a new choreographer, which I'm sure helped with that. It is going to bring in Typhoid Mary. Alice Eve is going to be playing her.
Okay, yeah, the Daredevil villain, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not really big on Iron Fist or Daredevil in the comics, so I can't really speak to that. But it is interesting you bring that up, because one of the things with this trailer that they showed at Comic-Con is that he's basically going to be taking over the role of Daredevil, because if you've seen the end of The Defenders, the Daredevil isn't necessarily around in New York City anymore. And so that kind of leaves a void for someone else to come in and take that role.
Right, which it makes sense. They're both martial arts based heroes, so it's a very good transition.
And I will say one more thing about the trailer. Chris, the masks are in.
I'm so happy. That's good.
I don't know if it'll be for the whole season, but at least they are in there in some regard. Next up, another piece of DC news. Young Justice. Outsiders. That is season 3 of the Young Justice TV show. I am sure you've seen this.
I have seen this. Thankfully, it included a recap of season 2's events, because it has been many years since season 2. Season 2 was the last season they ran, and there was a fan campaign. Originally, this was going to come out on Netflix before DC started their own streaming service, but it's going to come out there. There was some new animation. From what I could tell, all the voice actors and actresses are returning.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Super stoked about this. I loved the original run of Young Justice. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, so for me, I've seen season 1. It's fantastic. I started season 2, and something happened. I don't remember. I think I was buying the DVDs or something, and I only had a couple. So I started season 2, but I never finished it. So I started watching this trailer, read some of the stuff above it, realized I just read a massive spoiler, stopped so that I can go finish it before this comes out. All I can say is this is phenomenal. It's on par with the DC animated universe from the late 90s, early 2000s. Maybe even better.
I can definitely agree with that. I don't know if it's better. I think that it has definitely grown with its audience. I don't think the audience is younger kids like it is with Teen Titans Go. This is clearly a young adult audience.
Yeah, it's a more mature style show akin to Batman the Animated Series.
Right. And I'm looking forward to the interpersonal relationships that grew in both seasons of the show coming back. And the writing is really snappy. The action is beautifully animated. This is going to be phenomenal. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I wish Marvel used to do movies like this, animated movies kind of with the same style. They don't really do them anymore. Now they release these CG, like super for kids movies. I wish they would go back to doing stuff like this. I haven't seen the new Spider-Man cartoon, but a lot of people are not fans of it. So, DC, you're doing great. Marvel, step up your game again. Other DC news, Geoff Johns, we've been talking about him a lot. He is writing a new Shazam book.
I'm really intrigued. I love Geoff Johns' Green Lantern work. He single-handedly brought the character back to the limelight back in the early 2000s. And with the Shazam movie coming out, which we will talk about shortly, this I honestly think is going to be one of the best DC comic book lines for the next year or so, for however long he's on it. He's usually really, really good about taking over a character, turning them into a new direction, and breathing more life into them so that other people can take it on and keep running with it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised that he's doing this because he just stepped down a couple weeks ago, I thought, to do more TV and movie stuff.
Oh, I did not hear that news, because he was more or less running DC's story editorial department, right?
Yeah, he was, and then he was also supposed to be doing stuff with the movies, but he wasn't really doing stuff with the movies, kind of more consulting work. But I don't know, maybe a month ago, we covered it. I don't remember all the details, but I believe that he had stepped down into a new position. It was supposed to be more focused on those other live-action properties, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this does tie into the live-action property. Not saying that it is a tie-in to the movie, but it releasing, the news coming out, and also them making a new book instead of continuing something else, means that it's a marketing move for the movie.
Right. And that makes sense. Most comic book companies tend to do this, especially Marvel and DC being the two big examples of this. So, not surprising. We'll see how it is. I've never read a Shazam book. Honestly, I haven't read that many DC books. Nothing against DC. I just enjoy Marvel and don't have that much time. But that book is debuting this November, which is going to be a really big month for DC because they are also launching a new Green Lantern book in November by Grant Morrison.
Yeah, I have feelings about Grant Morrison and his writing style. People love him. People have reasons to love him. He is a very, very creative guy. And so I'm really intrigued as to what direction he's going to take this, because in the past decade or so, the Green Lantern mythology has opened up a lot. And he does his best work when he has as many obscure toys to play with as possible. Okay. He's a lot like Alan Moore in that regard.
Sure.
And so I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what he does. And hopefully I'll like it. We'll see.
This one's going to be very much space-based, where he's I'm assuming Hal Jordan. I'm not sure who the current Green Lantern is in the comics. Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. So whoever it is going to be enforcing law in space, so it doesn't sound like it's going to take much place on Earth at all. It is going to be drawn by Liam Sharp, who I am not familiar with. Are you?
The name is extremely familiar, but I could not tell you what he's done.
Okay, so that's something to look forward to for all you Green Lantern fans. On the flip side, for you Aquaman fans, the hero that got revitalized 10 years ago or so, maybe, into something that wasn't completely lame, they are also doing a new Aquaman comic, non-surprising, tying into that movie as well, I'm assuming. This one doesn't have a release date, but it is being written by someone named Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Yeah, so Kelly Sue's been around for a little while. I don't know what other books she's done, but she's a very familiar name. Robson Rocha, also doing the art. Very familiar name to me. I really should have looked up what they've done beforehand, but this hopefully is another good entry into the Aquaman series, which has steadily been solidifying itself as good storytelling.
Yeah.
He's a good character.
Yeah, I've never been against him the way other people have been against him. I've just never been into him because he didn't seem that interesting. I will say, we'll talk about it in a minute, but the trailer, and I mean, a lot of the art I've seen actually over the past 10 years has gotten me a lot more interested in him. Yeah,
so the thing is that a lot of his history in public culture has been the Super Friends version, where all he can really do is talk to fish.
Yeah.
But his story and personality, especially in the early 2000s, where he had one hand in a giant beard, is really gripping and can definitely lead some good stories. So I'm kind of excited to see where that goes.
So this comic series is supposed to be kind of in the same vein as Daredevil, Born Again, or Batman Year One, where it's kind of reinterpreting, retelling, re-explaining some of the early years of the character. And that's really echoed by the synopsis that they gave for this, which is, while attempting to rediscover who he is, the king of Atlantis meets former sea gods that have been forgotten and were also marooned there. That, to me, not knowing anything about the character, sounds super, super awesome.
Sounds like big mythological fun. I'm all for it.
Awesome. All right, another book that we're getting, but not a comic book this time. This is from Marvel, is the Marvel Studios' The First 10 Years book. This was not announced at Comic-Con. This was actually announced 2 or 3 months ago, I think, with no details. But what we got at Comic-Con are details. It's going to be a 512-page book that releases next year, May 3rd, 2019, which is the release date of Avengers 4.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about this. Is this more of like a concept art and behind-the-scenes look, or is it more of a in-universe, distinct storytelling recap?
So my understanding of it is it's going to be sort of similar to the Art of books. Are you familiar with those?
Yes.
Okay, so for our audience members, or listeners, I guess, nobody's seeing us, so they're not audience members. It's the art of books are basically concept art from the movies, stuff they use, stuff they didn't use. They are very nice books. And so this is, I think, going to be kind of like that, but it's also going to have interviews with cast and directors and people involved. It's more of that behind the scenes stuff. This is really interesting to me. I am going to buy this. I have the first, I think, 4 or 5 art of books. I stopped buying them because they're pricey. They're like $50 or $60 a piece. And you look through them once and you kind of don't really go back, even though they're really awesome. But I think that this one's going to retail for about $150, $160. It's massive. It actually comes in 2 bound books in like a sleeve thing. So I'm really excited about this. Hopefully it's great. All right, so that was what I got down for Thursday. Hopefully that's everything that happened Thursday. Do you know anything that happened Thursday?
New Doctor Who trailer.
New
Absolutely
Doctor Who trailer.
Fantastic. Yeah. Doctor
I got
Who
that down here.
Season
Did
1.
I not? Oh, maybe I didn't.
Somehow this missed your radar, and I'm really disappointed in you.
Oh, know why? You know why? Because we talked about it on the news, but we can talk about it here.
Oh, you talked about it on the news. It looks fantastic. Jodie Whittaker always does an amazing job, and she looks like a lot of fun. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. This is the first time that there are 3 companions in the TARDIS with the Doctor since the late 70s.
Has it been that long? Because I thought during like Tennant's run or something, he had 3.
3 people showing up at once for an episode or 2 has occasionally happened, but 3 people continually traveling with the Doctor over the course of a season has not happened since Peter Davidson's run, who's the 5th Doctor in the late 70s with Nyssa, Tegan, and Adric. And that makes for a lot of interesting storytelling decisions, because instead of it being the Doctor and the companion being split up, it's the Doctor and X, and then the other 2 companions going off on their own. Or everybody splitting up and you getting 4 different storylines.
Right. There
are so many options, and there are so many interesting places that they're going in the trailer that I'm really excited to see Doctor Who tackle. And
you are the resident expert on this because you have seen, I think, every single episode of Doctor Who that's available?
Every single episode that exists in its entirety I have seen twice now, thanks to this Twitch stream.
You're a stronger man than I am.
I won't dispute that. But it's a fantastic show. It has something for everybody. It's been going on since 1963. There's books, there's a movie, there's multiple audio stories.
There's kind of 2 movies.
There's kind of 2 movies. So, okay, actually, hold on. There are 2 actual movies. There was a made-for-TV movie. The 2 actual movies aren't canon. But they were made in the 60s with, who's the Star Wars guy that they brought back from the dead? Peter Cushing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with
Tarkin.
Peter Cushing playing the Doctor. Yeah, and those aren't canon. There was a 1998 made-for-TV movie, and then the 50th anniversary was very much a theatrical experience.
Yes, it was. And we saw that together.
Yes, we did. And it was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great time. I will say a lot of people are not interested in Doctor Who because they feel it's been going on for a very long time and it's hard to get into. A new Doctor means a new most things, new stories, not too much connecting to the past. So now's the time to jump on if you've been interested in Doctor Who and just didn't know when you should jump in.
Yes, yeah, now is perfect. Almost every time whenever a Doctor changes, which if you don't know, the Doctor regenerates, they replace the Doctor and they replace his personality. They tweak it a bit, his or her personality now. They tweak it a bit, and they occasionally bring in a new production crew or a new show writer. What happened this time, they're bringing in both. A new showrunner, Chris Chibnall, and a new production crew are all coming in. So it's going to be a very distinct jumping on point. The last time this happened was 2010 with Stephen Moffat, and Matt coming on with Matt Smith as the 10th Doctor. 11th Doctor, I'm sorry. And that was, to me, that's the golden age of the show. And hopefully this just keeps getting better and better and better.
Sure. I was a fan of the previous Doctor, but the writing on the show I don't think was up to snuff because I never finished the last season of his. So it just wasn't grabbing me the same way they did before. But that's enough Doctor Who. I'm sure we'll do a Doctor Who episode somewhere down the line. We did get another sci-fi series. Star Trek Discovery, Season 2 got a trailer. Never really seen Star Trek outside of some of the movies.
Yeah, so Star Trek Discovery, it's a modern reboot. It's the first series since the early 2000s with Star Trek Enterprise, which was not very well received, even though it got 3 or 4 seasons. The first season of Star Trek Discovery was well received. And I'm actually going to go back and watch it, even though I also don't really watch Star Trek, because there was so many good things people said about it, and I've heard a lot of hype for the season 2 trailer, even though I haven't seen it. Kind of looking forward to see how long the show goes, and what they keep doing.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I think I also heard that season 1 went way over budget, so hopefully that doesn't happen again, because that would not mean it's going to last for a long time. Or they replace the people doing it. Either one. But we also got a trailer for a movie that I am pretty excited for, and that is Glass. Now, if you don't know what this is, don't feel bad. This is a sequel to, 2005's Unbreakable? Is it 2005? Is it earlier than that?
I want to say it's around then. It may be 2004, but that's the right time frame.
And another movie, which is kind of a spoiler, but I think it's been out there a long enough time, Split, which is a movie that came out last year, which people didn't know was connected to Unbreakable until they went and saw the movie.
Yeah, and the fact that this is getting a sequel, it is a legitimate sequel to Split, surprises me because I didn't hear a lot about Split when it came out.
I didn't hear a lot about it, but that was the kind of the Grandmaster plan when he decided to make Split. Like, make Split and then make Glass, which is the sequel to both of those, and have everyone come together. I love Unbreakable. I have not seen it in years, so maybe it doesn't hold up. It came out before superhero movies were really big. I mean, we had Spider-Man and X-Men, but aside from that, it came out in the era where we also had a lot of flops, like Daredevil and Elektra, back when those were movies and not on Netflix. So, this trailer looks great. Did you get to check it out?
I did get to check out the trailer. It looks really interesting. If you guys don't know, we haven't actually mentioned, but it's M. Night Shyamalan heading all 3 of these movies. And it looks really, really good. I'm not expecting an M. Night Shyamalan-esque twist. I'm just looking to see how well this works as a superhero film. And if it deconstructs the genre at all, because that's the point we're at in this cycle.
Yeah, Unbreakable is a superhero movie, but it's not the superhero movie in any of the traditional senses that most people think about. It is very much its own thing. I would definitely suggest that if you're interested in Glass, definitely see Unbreakable first. I need to see Split because I actually haven't seen it. And we haven't mentioned, but Unbreakable stars Bruce Willis, who's obviously going to be in Glass, as well as Samuel Jackson, which is a pretty big draw. Next up, we got a new trailer for a Lego game, Lego DC Supervillains. Interest?
I'm not the market for this anymore, but Telltale not Telltale. Oh no, who does the
Telltale?
game? The Telltale.
Something. TT. There's 2 T's.
TT. Yeah. They make good Lego games.
Most of the time. The last Lego game I played was Lego Avengers. It was terrible. It was awful. Not Lego Marvel Superheroes. That one is fantastic. The one that came after.
Fantastic.
Avengers. Don't do it. Yeah, I mean, this looks fine. I know they've done 3 Batman games. They're moving on to the villains. They're just trying to milk it. Whatever.
Yeah, it's expansive. It's been going, the comic book company has been going since the 40s, right? So there's a lot to play with.
Yeah, but moving on, we did get a full Sony panel. Now, there was some news that came out about Morbius the Living Vampire. I do not think that was actually talked about at Comic-Con. There was some potential casting news about the kinds of characters that will be in the movie. If you want to know details about that, just look that up. The more impressive things that I'm excited about is, Sony still owns the rights for Spider-Man, even though they are sharing them with Disney at this point, with Marvel. So they are making their own animated Spider-Man movie called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is inspired by a comic that came out 2 or 3 years ago called Spider-Verse. And the concept is basically tons of dimensions, Spider-Man from all of them.
Yes, and it also changes its art style to reflect that. And it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I am really excited about this as a Spider-Man fan. I never thought we'd get to go to different dimensions in a movie, because that's a pretty big part of the comics, not just Spider-Man comics, but comics in general for the past. I mean, DC was doing it in the 80s. Marvel, I think, has become more prominent in the past 10 years or so. So it's really awesome. The specific news that we got is that Nicolas Cage is going to be voicing Spider-Man Noir, which I think is fantastic casting. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I love to love Nicolas Cage. It's great. I'm glad to see him showing up in a superhero piece of work, even though it's only a voice, and we don't know how big of a role Spider-Man Noir is going to have. Because there are a lot. Like, already before this that were released, there's Spider-Gwen, there's it follows Miles, right?
Yeah, Miles is the main character, Miles Morales, the main Spider-Man from what used to be the Ultimate Universe. Obviously, Peter Parker is in it. I think those were the only ones that were confirmed previous to this. But of course, we've got him as Noir. We've got Kimiko Green as, I think you pronounce this Spider. It's capital SP//DR. This was...
I always read it as Spider, but...
This was one of my favorite characters. Actually, probably my favorite character coming out of the Spider-Verse event. It was a new character. It's kind of like an anime version of what Spider-Man would be. It's like a mech suit piloted by this little girl. Phenomenal. It was only in a couple issues. She got her own spin-off in Edge of Spider-Verse for one issue. It focused on different Spider-Man each issue. Definitely check that out if you have time. And John Mulaney is going to be voicing Spider-Ham!
The best Spider-Man, hands down.
Literally,
Spider-Pig.
he's a pig.
He's a pig.
That's a Spider-Man.
That's the pitch. Spider-Man, but if he's a pig.
And
That's all
his
you need.
alter ego is Peter Porker. Okay, next. Sony's also making a Venom movie. How do you feel about the Venom movie in general?
So, I look forward to watching it and judging it harshly.
Okay.
I think the cast that they have looks great. The dialogue in the first trailer was a little stiff, but the effects were really good. And I'm looking to see what they do with it, and if we can get to Carnage, which is the only symbiote that matters.
Somewhat disagree on that. Actually, disagree on that a lot. There are a lot of symbiotes, and while I don't know the family that's kind of in this movie, I do like other ones. Toxin, anyway. It was confirmed that Riz Ahmed is not playing Carnage. He's playing Riot, which is a different symbiote. Mm-hmm. There were at least 2 other symbiotes spotted in the footage there at Comic-Con, but they were not confirmed which one they were. One of them was Yellow, which I can't remember what her name is, but she is one of those, I think 5 that were created by the Life Foundation in the comic books. It looks very brutal, apparently. He does a lot of stuff that's in the comics, like he separates from Brock and talks. Did I say Brock?
Yes. I mean, Eddie Brock, right?
Is that right? Okay. Sorry. In recent years, there's been Flash Thompson. For some reason, I was thinking I got that wrong. Anyway, Eddie Brock, he bites off heads in the trailer, very much for adults, not for kids. I don't know how I feel about it, so we won't get into it here. Next up, AMC had their own panel where they showed Season 9 of The Walking Dead. I don't watch this. Is anybody still watching this?
No, and also, only one original cast member is still there after 9 seasons.
Well,
and
it will be the case in Season 9.
Yeah, it will be the case in Season 9. That's right. It seems to be like, from my understanding, people who watch the show, it's like some sort of cliffhanger after cliffhanger after cliffhanger. That's all they care about. But I haven't watched the show since Season 2. I know that a lot of people still like it, but not a lot of people in my realm of influence.
Yeah, I fell off around Season 3 or 4. My understanding is that the people that watch it just watch it because they've been watching it, and why not continue watching it? But hey, something for everyone. We also got a trailer for Preacher Season 3, which I have not seen at all.
You are missing out. Preacher, it's a TV series on AMC, based off of the Garth Ennis book from the late 90s, early 2000s, by the same name. It is fantastic. It's fantastic. The cast is amazing. The directions that they take the show, at least in the first season, are really great interpretations of the comic itself. And I saw the trailer, which I don't know if a teaser came out or the entire trailer came out before Comic-Con, but there was a trailer that came out before Comic-Con that I saw, and I was just absolutely floored with the direction that they're taking and what they're doing with certain storylines in the book. The book itself is great. If you guys want to, it's all in trades. Definitely check it out. But the show is awesome. Dominic Cooper and, oh no, I cannot remember her name. She played Reyna in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But
fell off that show.
So did she, I guess.
Well, some other person. I'm sure you can look it up and find out her name. But Dominic Cooper, you know as Howard Stark, the young version from the Marvel movies and the TV shows and all kinds of stuff. I have heard good things. Maybe I'll check it out eventually. Mostly I haven't because of time.
Fair.
They also showed a Bumblebee trailer at Comic-Con. This was not released. I just don't care about this anymore. I'm sure I will see it. I'm sure we'll do an episode on it. But my faith in this line of Transformers movies has just diminished completely.
We got rickrolled.
And that's all we're going to say about that. You got anything else for Friday?
Nothing else that I remember for Friday. The only reason I remember the Doctor Who thing on Thursday was because I deeply care about it.
Okay. So Saturday, we got a whole host of trailers. You guys have probably seen most of these. The first one we're going to cover is Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, which they really need to shorten that name before they do the next one. Did you check out the trailer?
I did. It looks awesome. Characters returning from the first one that I did not expect to return. Not because they died, but just did not expect them to come back, but they're shown prominently in the trailer, so I'm really excited about that. Because the cast and the characters in the first one were really what made the movie for me.
I agree.
And it doesn't look like they're moving the focus too far away from the Fantastic Beasts. They do make a couple of appearances in the trailer. They're still important. It covers a unique period of the Harry Potter universe that I'm looking to find more of, but I'm actually kind of worried that it's going to be that it's going to like cop out towards the end of the movie. Okay. Where
I see what you're saying.
Dumbledore comes in and saves the day, which is what happened all the time in the Harry Potter movies until 6.
Right.
And I'm actually really worried that happens here. And if it does, I'm going to be really sad because the characters in the movie, the way that they built them up, like they can handle themselves and they handle themselves in very unique ways that you would not expect of an action hero.
So I do have a piece of information. This could be considered a spoiler. So if you don't want to hear it, maybe skip ahead 20 or 30 seconds. Chris, I think you're going to be okay with this. What I heard is that Dumbledore is not going to share any scenes with Grindelwald.
Dope. I mean, as much as I'd like to see Jude Law react with Johnny Depp on screen, that is good.
Yeah, I think they're saving it for sequels, so that's good. I am surprised that there are as many beasts in this trailer as there are. I kind of thought they were shifting the focus away. In fact, I wasn't even sure Newt was going to be like a central figure in it. I thought maybe he'd be a side character, but it does very much appear to be his movie, so that's good because I really enjoyed him in the first one. I am looking forward to this.
Agreed.
Next up, we got a new trailer for the sequel to Godzilla, which is Godzilla King of the Monsters.
I missed this trailer. I saw the poster. The poster looks awesome.
Yeah,
But
so
I did not see this trailer.
this introduces 3 new monsters.
Oh.
Well, not new like in the Godzilla universe. New in this interpretation. It's got Mothra.
Okay.
It's got Rodan, I believe. And man, I'm not up with the names of the Godzilla monsters. The dragon with the 3 heads, the big bad that everybody likes.
No idea.
King Ghidorah or something like that. They are all in this trailer. I will say, in this trailer, they say something like, humanity is going extinct, and to save them, we have to find the Titans, and the Titans are the monsters, and they're going to save us. And I'm like, that can't be the plot of the movie, because that doesn't make any sense. So I'm hoping that that's not actually the plot of the movie, because by releasing them, they're just going to kill more people. I do really like the way that they're likening them to the Titans from Greek mythology. I think that's really awesome. The visuals look amazing. It looks like it's a sequel without being a direct sequel, because you don't see any of the same characters. I like that direction. So, good stuff there. And then we got 2 new DC trailers. The first one is Shazam.
Loved this trailer. Loved this trailer so much. It single-handedly fixes everything, every criticism I've had for DC movies in the past decade.
Yeah. It looks good. It
looks good.
I've heard people say it's not what they expected, probably because they don't know who Shazam is, because it is pretty much exactly what I expected. And it looks fantastic. It looks funny, it looks bright, it looks colorful. It's probably what DC needs in the public eye, as compared to another Justice League or Batman v Superman. Yes,
I agree. The tone it's very childlike and fun, which makes sense if you're even relatively familiar with Shazam, or as he was originally known, Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And the gentleman that they have to play him, Zachary Levi, I think, he does a fantastic job in the trailer. I'm super excited to see how this shapes up, which I actually was not looking forward to this movie at all until I saw the trailer.
Okay, yeah. I think I was cautiously optimistic, but I didn't know. Levi, of course, jumping over from Marvel, where he was playing Fandral, which I don't think is a commitment anymore. But that movie is not coming out till next year, so that was a little bit of a surprise that we got that trailer. Do you have anything else to say about that?
No, just looking forward to it.
All right. The trailer that we have been waiting on for, it feels like forever, is our first look at Aquaman.
It looks good.
Hot scoop. Looks good.
Lots of money has gone into this movie, and you can definitely tell. They're bringing in a lot of key Aquaman characters in this movie, which I'm really excited about. Hopefully it doesn't cause a problem to where none of them get the screen time they deserve.
Yeah.
But Jason Momoa killed it in Justice League. He was one of the best parts. He is going to make a fantastic Aquaman. Hopefully the writing does him and the character justice. The color palette for the trailer, it's very distinct.
It is.
When you're on land and in the water, which is good. And I'm really looking forward to all the cool things that Atlanteans can do, because they can literally do magic. And so I'm kind of excited to see that in a DC movie.
Yeah, and James Wan is directing this, so I feel he's probably the most accomplished director that DC has really gotten at this point. Like, people really, really like his stuff. So I'm very hopeful for this. I don't know too much about Aquaman, like I was saying earlier, but the trailer has really, really sold me. Like, bright, colorful, but also looks very dark in some ways.
90% of that color is Mira's wig.
Well, hey, it looks better than the Inhumans one, right?
Touche.
All right, we did get a trailer for Krypton Season 2, which I haven't watched Krypton yet. Have you?
No, I feel bad about dismissing the show when it was announced. And
I dismissed it instantly. Not only because it was another Superman movie or TV show, but because it was taking place on Krypton, which felt like they were just trying to capitalize on the first part of Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's a prequel series. I don't know if at all it ties into the DC or to the CW shows.
I doubt it. Oh, the CW shows? No, I don't think so at all.
Okay, which I have a lot of time invested in those. I don't have time to deal with something else.
Yeah.
But I actually didn't expect the show to get a second season. I didn't want it to fail. I just didn't care.
Yeah.
But it introduces Lobo, which is he's an international biker, intergalactic biker, which is going to be an interesting villain for TV.
Yeah, I can't see them doing his comic book version. That seems like way too crazy for live action, at least the way they're doing it.
That's true. He's very much like a hyper 90s heavy metal character pastiche. And so, like, doing that now in the same way that they would do in the comics doesn't really make much sense. But I don't know how they've handled any of the other characters.
I think it's pretty grounded from what I know. I know Brainiac's been in it. But, I mean, Lobo is like... Imagine Ghost Rider crossed with, like, the Tick
Deadpool.
Or something. Yeah. Or Deadpool. Either one. They're both super over the top.
Mm. And just self-referential.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you going to look at it, check it out?
Honestly, no. I don't have time for this.
Yeah. Me neither.
I want the show to be good because I want these people to continue to have jobs. But I will not check it out.
I don't even care about that. They can find another job. There's always stuff out there. There's lots of acting gigs. But we did get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Goodness, 5 different trailers for the 5 DC TV shows that are on the CW. Those, of course, being Black Lightning, Supergirl, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, and The Flash. Getting trailers for, in the same order, Season 2, Season 4, Season 7, Season 4, Season 5.
Yes.
That's a lot.
So, Black Lightning... So, I didn't watch anything from this past season, but I did check out these trailers for all of these, even though I'm one season behind on every single one of them. Supergirl looks good. Looks like they're bringing in way more of an alien element instead of it being Monster of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like, I don't know. It's just gonna seem like it's the new normal, and also the tone that they're taking is very relevant if you're an American at the moment. Because of the person that's doing the voiceover is clearly the villain in the trailer.
Uh-huh.
So I'm really looking forward to how they touch on something as explosive as American politics. I didn't see the Arrow trailer. I didn't see the Flash trailer, but the Legends of Tomorrow trailer, I'm just happy Constantine exists.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool, but that show has always been way more cheesy than it needed to be, and not in a good way.
That show exists to be wacky, over the top. Set. It's American Doctor Who. They travel through set pieces.
No. Do not even. Doctor Who is leagues better than the Legends.
I agree with that, but hear me out here. All right, they travel through time, going to relatively known set pieces of other fiction, screwing around in them, or of history / areas of time that have been written a lot about. Screwing around and then leaving. Which is almost exactly what Doctor Who does.
Yeah, but that's because they stole it from Doctor Who.
Also, yes.
I mean, just because you steal something doesn't make it unique or the same. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But I don't like the show. I'm not going to watch it. I don't watch any of these anymore, actually. I don't watch any superhero network TV shows.
Yeah, I wish I had the time for these. I really want to because they all look good. I've invested a lot of time in watching them before, and they all held my interest long enough. Matt Ryan as Constantine is the only draw for me at this point for Legend of Tomorrow, because he is absolutely amazing in the role. Like, he was made for the role. And I'm really looking forward to him being a regular character. Even though I think they brought him on in season 3 halfway through as a regular character, him being a full-fledged member makes me kind of excited.
Awesome. And I just realized, actually, I do watch a couple of Superhero Network TV shows. Legion counts, technically. I've seen an episode or 2 of Gifted. And Cloak and Dagger I've watched like 2 episodes of. So, there you go. Speaking of The Gifted, it got a season 2 trailer as well. I started watching this and then I just kind of fell off. It had an interesting premise. It was more interesting than I thought it was going to be. But then it never, went there. It always stayed in, CW land, everybody looks nice. Everybody is the same age. There's no different age of people that are coming in except for, 25 and younger.
Yeah, I didn't get to see this. I may watch it eventually, but it didn't grab me.
And then we also got some news about Zombieland 2, which we talked about, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, that was happening. It did get an official release date, which is October 11th of 2019. So look forward to that. And that rounds out Saturday. I'm assuming you don't have anything for Saturday.
Nothing else.
All right. Sunday, I only have one thing, which I don't even know if it was announced on Sunday. And Courtney, if you're listening to this, I guess you already know at this point, so it probably doesn't matter. I'm speaking specifically to one Courtney, not all Courtneys. Although, if all Courtneys want to take this as I'm speaking to them, that's okay too. Boruto, which is the sequel series to Naruto, which was, of course, a worldwide phenomenon, still is actually, is going to get its US premiere on Toonami this September, dubbed for the first time. I've been wondering when they're going to do this. I'm surprised it's in September because I'm pretty sure that Naruto is not going to be finished dubbed by that point.
It's interesting that they're moving that far ahead.
It's close. I will say that.
Okay.
I think Naruto will finish by the end of the year.
Okay. All right. I think they might just be doing it just to capitalize on Boruto. I'm not a fan of either of these shows. I'm not a big shonen guy, so I don't watch that many super long running anime.
Sure.
But I'm glad that it's happening because I remember Toonami being the thing that got me into a lot of nerdy stuff, including and especially anime. So it still being on air, because it had a rough time for a while. Toonami, I mean, is good, and bringing a popular anime, dubbing it, always a good call.
Yeah, so I am a massive fan of Naruto, actually, and I know that's probably going to drive some of our listeners away. I don't care. I am unapologetic about it. I grew up with it. I mean, I followed it for years of my life, and I will say Boruto, I've seen, the first 15 episodes or so. It is a little bit villain of the week. There is a through line in there. I think it's actually done really well. I think that it's the way you do a sequel series. There's new characters. They are the focus. Old characters are still around sometimes, but they are not the focus. It feels different from the original series. It feels a bit more fresh. It's not based on a manga. There is a manga, but it's, I think, written by a different person, and they kind of diverge at different points, I believe. So they're kind of making up their own story at this point, and I think that's probably serving them well. I'm excited to see this. I am okay with subbed anime, but I prefer to watch it dubbed just because I don't have to read the entire time. So, good there. And then also sometime at Comic-Con, they announced that Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which is a new animated movie, is going to be coming out next year in 2019 at some point.
I have no idea if this follows the storyline or not, but I love the DC animated movies and have for almost as long as they've been doing them. And I'm excited to see this one.
Awesome. All right. Well, unless you have anything else, that rounds out our Comic-Con coverage. Now, I'm sure that we missed some things. I mean, these are the big things from Comic-Con. There's hundreds and hundreds of panels there. There's absolutely no way we could cover all of it. But if there's something you would like to hear us talk about, please email in and let us know. All right. So, as we've been doing, we do have a new segment called Whatcha Been Up To, which is pretty much where we talk about nerdy things, what we've been up to, what we recommend, what we don't recommend. So, Chris, do you have anything for us this week for What You Been Up To?
My entire life has been consumed by the Twitch Presents Doctor Who stream. Speaking of which, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go watch it. But, check out Classic Doctor Who one day. There's a lot, but there are a lot of great, cool stories, and you can find a ton of episode guides on there. I had a ton of fun going back and watching these, 30, 40, 50-year-old stories. And there's a lot of cool ideas that you wouldn't have thought, kind of originated with Doctor Who. And they try a bunch of different things, especially out in the early days. Like, there's a Western/musical episode.
Okay.
From 1965, and it's not great, but it's still, I don't know, it's worth experiencing.
Rousing endorsement.
Yes. The show there's a reason the show's been going on for as long as it has. Definitely worth checking out, especially the latter couple of Doctors.
Do you have a specific story you can recommend, or also who, what kind of people would be into this?
Yeah, so if you're a fan of science fiction and time travel, you're definitely going to want to check this out if you somehow haven't already. A good era of the show is there are a bunch of jumping on points with the old show. When it goes into color in 1970 with the Third Doctor, they introduce the show's longest recurring single villain, the Master, in that season. That's a good jumping on point. The Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, who had a 7-year run, the longest running Doctor, and the most famous one, he's the one with the long scarf. Even if you're only tangentially aware of that Doctor Who exists, you've seen this scarf somewhere. He has a great run, especially his last 3 seasons. They're not great because of him, they're great because of his cast. And the 7th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, his last 2 seasons are just an absolute blast. So definitely check those out. I've also been playing something that you've been playing. Kingdom
I know
Hearts.
what this is. Kingdom Hearts.
I've been playing the original Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix HD. Because Square Enix does not know how to name things.
Oh,
and,
simply put, it's Kingdom Hearts Final Mix.
Yes, all of the final mixes.
Yeah, but the first game specifically is the final mix.
Yes, yeah, that is true. And I'm going back and I'm collecting stuff, and that's kind of where I'm at now, because I just, I'm about to finish the game, so I'm going back and doing everything else.
Oh man, be prepared. It's so hard. That first one is brutal.
That first one, yeah, it is brutal. It's rough. I'm missing 3 Dalmatians, and I have a bunch of Coliseum battles to do.
Nope, not a completionist. I just do what I do and I go through the story. That's too much.
What have you been up to?
Well, it's funny you bring up Kingdom Hearts. I actually have 2 as well. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix, which is in that 1.5, 2.5 collection that they released a year or 2 ago. It's phenomenal, actually. I've been thinking, if it's a good game for people that have never played a Kingdom Hearts game to come into, if they could understand it, I actually think they could. You will definitely get way more out of it if you played the other ones, but it's really good on its own, because basically the way it works is there's 3 main characters, and you play through the story as each different character, and you kind of go to some of the same worlds, but the story is definitely different. You see things from different sides, they explain everything. The thing I like the most is each Disney world is only about 30 or 40 minutes long, whereas in the others, they're 3 to 5 hours long, depending on which one you're talking about. And that kind of feels like it's filled with a lot of filler stuff that doesn't actually need to be in there. When they've condensed it down to 30 minutes, that's very minimal. And if you get to a world that you don't like, you know that you're only going to be there for 30 minutes or something. So it's really not that bad. So that's my first one. My other recommendation is an anime that I haven't actually finished yet, but I've watched the first 5 episodes. I will definitely finish it. It is Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. This is based on a visual novel, which is basically like a dating sim game. in Japan. One that you might be familiar with that I think we've talked about on the show before is Fate Zero, which is phenomenal. This is a pseudo-sequel to that. You can think of it as a direct sequel, but you can also think of it as like a alternate dimension version of future events from Fate Zero. It does directly tie in, but it also doesn't. It's a little confusing. But the animation is phenomenal. The fights are very well choreographed. Very, very good. You haven't seen any of the Fate series, have you?
I have not seen any of the Fate series. I do know that there's 3?
There's many, and they're confusing. Just pick one. If you're going to start on one, probably start with Fate Zero or Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, because there is a Fate Stay Night that's different.
Yeah, Fate Stay Night, I believe, was the original one.
Yeah.
And then Fate Zero is a prequel, from my understanding.
It's a prequel to the visual novel, but it's confusing.
Yeah. So, but I actually heard a lot of good things about Fate Zero. That did remind me, though, just bringing up anime, one thing that I think came out this weekend was the announcement of the release date for the Castlevania anime.
Oh, okay.
Season 2, which the first season, it's like 4 episodes on Netflix, written by Warren Ellis, who's a huge name in comics. It is great. Even if you've never played the games, it's a great, interesting, sympathetic story. I'm really excited for this next season because the animation and the voice acting and the writing were fantastic. So hopefully this next one's also great. I think it comes out in September.
Awesome. All right. I haven't seen the first one, but you know what? I was going to say I'll check it out. I probably won't check it out just because it's not my cup of tea. But if you're into that kind of thing, I have heard good things from a lot of people. And unless you have anything else, that pretty much wraps us up for this week.
No, that's it.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining me today. You are, of course, part of the CNC Power Hour. Would you like to give that a plug, talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so I'd kind of plugged it at the beginning of the show, but we do video game and Magic the Gathering live streams all throughout the week. Magic the Gathering we do on Sundays. Video games we do Saturdays and occasionally during the week. It's just me and a couple of friends enjoying ourselves, hanging out, doing nerdy stuff.
And that you're playing Kingdom Hearts on the stream, right?
I have, in fact, been playing Kingdom Hearts on the stream. There are some VODs, recordings on our Twitch channel of the Kingdom Hearts stream. I should be getting all those up to YouTube at some point in the next 6 months. But, yeah, so that's us, twitch.tv/C, the letter N, C, Power Hour. Definitely come check us out. If you play Magic the Gathering, 4 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, we always do some sort of wacky, fun stuff.
And that's on Sundays.
Sundays.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. Well, Mr. Chris Gonzalez, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to cut that out because you probably don't want your full name out there.
There are so many people that if they needed my information, they could get it.
All right.
But you know who does want their name completely out there, Caleb? Taylor Poole.
Taylor Poole, look at you with the Zach intro. Taylor Poole did our wonderful opening music. We like him a lot. Please go check him out at taylorpoolemusic.com. That's TaylorPoole. Make sure you don't forget the E. Music.com. Of course, we just talked about CNC Power Hour. Please go check them out. As well as our website, CuzWe'reNerds.com, which we keep talking about. It's actually going to happen soon. We will be getting a new website. You'll be able to listen to the show on it. It'll make things way easier. So please do check that out. And once again, Chris, thank you for joining me.
Caleb, thank you so much for letting me come on and just spew hot air about everything that happened this past weekend.
You are very, very welcome. And we will see you in, I believe, 2 weeks on a Magic 101 episode.
Yes, and I'm really excited about that. There may be a visual component for that.
Yeah, we're going to try to work that out.
Yeah, so look forward to that. Thanks
for listening to 'Cause We're Nerds. Stay up to date with all the nerdy news and podcast drops by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also leave us feedback or comments at cuzwerenerds@gmail.com. That's CUZWERENERDS@gmail.com. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Next week, suit up and prepare for the impossible as we rappel into Mission Impossible Fallout. What's a man to do when cornered by a mustachioed Superman? Was Tom Cruise able to surpass his last insane stunt? And is this installment really the best in the increasingly superb series? Find out next week on 'Cause We're Nerds. Stay nerdy.
You know, I could theoretically record this with my limiting software. Hold on.
Limiting software.
Ha ha!